I've been clicking. So before we get started, just for courtesy for everyone, if you can please make sure you're muted, that would be awesome. Thank you, Kim. Oh my gosh, I adore this girl so much. She has been very patient with my insanely busy schedule. And I'm really excited to get to meet all of you and chat with you this evening. As she said, I've been with Pampered Chef for a little over 2 years. I love my business. I cannot imagine doing anything else. It has, I'm assuming we're kind of allowed to share, certain things. And I'm proud to say, like, I've been on a trip every year with Pampered Chef. And as of June 1st, we did promote to an executive director team. And I'm really excited because we are one director away from being a senior executive structure. So we're working crazy hard. It's going awesome. We started the year with 3 directors, and now we have 16 directors. So we have been growing like crazy. And like I said, I have such a passion for this business and this company. And I love that she thought of me to speak with you guys. So one of the things that Kim had shared is a lot of people have been asking about bookings right now and kind of how we're dealing with the stop sell and everything that's been going on in the business. And as I'm chatting, if you guys have questions, I do have the chat pulled up. So if you have a question, don't be afraid to use that and I'll answer them as I can. I love questions, love them. So I guess I'm trying to think of where to start. I have been really encouraging my team to build in consistency. How many of you guys intend to be really try to be really consistent with asking about bookings? First, let's see a show of hands for that. How many of you have it on a consistent rotation? Like I ask every day or once a week, like for bookings? I see a couple hands, some. Okay. How many of you do bookings until you run out of bookings and then you panic and you try and power fit everything in? It's okay. I've been there. It happens, right? Sometimes life can get super busy and it's hard to be consistent sometimes with making that part of our everyday plan. So the first thing I would suggest is until you have a consistently full schedule, whether that's 4 a week or 1 a week or 6 a week, I do between 6 to 8 a week, you have to build in that consistency of asking for bookings. Because we have found that when you don't, and you're trying to message people, and I don't know, this is going to sound a little woo-woo maybe to some people, but when you have that desperation mindset, like it comes out in your messages. Like when you're sending message requests and you're party booking messages and you're asking, and it's kind of like in your brain, you're like, please, dear God, say yes. Like, and it's like that desperation. You can feel it through your message. And let me tell you, when I get messages from other people that do other companies, I can tell the ones, excuse me, that are consistently working their business, they're consistently asking for bookings, and I can tell the ones that are struggling and are like desperate to find someone to host with them. So the first thing is building in that consistency. If you don't have a show schedule that's full, you should be messaging 30 people a day. And you can break that up into chunks like 10 in the morning, 10 at lunch, 10 at night. I know some of you may work full time, or if you have kids at home like me, like go to the bathroom and send messages, like throw candy at my kids to let them have me 5 minutes. But consistency is truly key to keeping that booking schedule full. I know that with everything going on, a lot of people are really hesitant. I know for me, I'd gotten quite a few no's, mainly in regards to when COVID first started, dreaded COVID, gotta love it. And then a lot with the stop sell. So how I'm continuing to push through that is just being open and honest with everything. When you address your potential hostesses' concerns, say they're like, well, I just don't really know. I want to see how this pandemic plays out. I love that because we don't know, right? Like we don't know when things are going to get back to normal, and everybody went and celebrated Memorial Day and now the numbers are like 1,000,000 degrees higher than before. So I know a lot of people have expressed like, well, I want to wait and see. I would just have that conversation with them and just let them know, like, because of COVID, so many people are at home cooking more often. How many of you guys have experienced that? Like you've had people say, you know, depending on where, are you guys mostly in New York? No? I think Kim is Kim gonna talk?
I think so I'm in Massachusetts. We're kind of all over the place. There's a good chunk of us that are in New York, but like we've got Florida,
Oh gosh,
South Carolina, we got Washington,
yeah.
Michigan, Ohio.
I'm reading through. I love seeing where everybody's from.
Oh, yay.
Peeps out there. If you're from Montana, whoop whoop. That's where I'm from. I was born in Arizona, so that's kind of cool. But I would just make sure that you were just being, Jenny says they have consultants in Alaska. I've lived in Alaska too. I've lived so many places. It's ridiculous. But I would just make sure that you're being really transparent and honest. And again, you don't want to come from that place of like fear and desperation of like, but I really want you to host right now. Like I really need a hostess. Like just be honest and open and have that communication and address their fears. I know that sometimes it can take a little bit of time, right, to have that conversation with people and make sure that their fears are really eased and you're making sure that all of their questions are answered. But in the long run, not only are you going to help them like turn into a hostess or a potential consultant, you're also going to build that long-standing relationship where you have a committed customer. I know for me, like I have a few hosts that bounce around between different consultants, and to each their own, right? Like I don't get upset about it. But when you take the time and build those relationships, you have like customers and hosts for life. Like if you take the time and answer all their questions and relay information consistently and timely, that is going to be that space that separates you from those other people. In regards to stop sell and the back order items, I'm really lucky. Like I'm knocking on all the wooden things that I haven't had too many people upset about it. Mainly because what I'm going to say to you guys is what I've said to my team. How many of you have flipped through like a physical catalog lately? We have pages and pages and pages of products. And yes, it's really frustrating that some of like the hotter items, they're on back order right now. But take those out of your rotation for your templates. Like plug in other products and put those in front of them. Give them a solution to what they don't have available to them right now. There are over 300 different products in our catalog. Does it suck that 20 of them are on back order right now? Yeah, but that still means we have 280 some to go, right? So don't look at what we don't have, look at what you do have and utilize those to give yourself a really bomb template and present things. And I know there are some people that don't even participate in the party and all they do is go in and order, and it can be frustrating, but you can also use that as leverage to book them in the future. How many of you guys have looked on Stir and seen that back order page? Have you guys seen that link? Amazing. I love it. I love that they update us now, because if someone says, well, I'm really mad you don't have the cold brew pitcher. Well, it's super exciting because it's coming back in a few weeks. And then you can say, what about hosting a party when it comes back? And we can get it for you for free or at a discount. That like cinches the deal a lot of times, because who doesn't want stuff for free or at 50% off or 60% off? So again, having that open communication and just letting them know when things are coming back, that you understand their frustration. One thing that you really don't want to do is match their frustration with frustration, which it could be super hard, right? Like if you have a host or a guest that's really not happy about the whole situation, it can put a lot of tension there, and you kind of almost maybe get in like defense mode, right? Like we're kind of backed into a corner and we're like, oh my God, like she is like in attack mode. Just take a deep breath and just have that conversation and really be transparent, explain to them, I totally understand your frustrations, especially with shipping. We had a 300% increase of growth in the month of May, and our company has just been knocking it out of the park because everybody loves Pampered Chef. It's like Christmas morning when things arrive. People are so excited, and right now we are about a month out, but when they arrive, your kitchen is going to love it so much, and it's worth the wait. Again, transparency, communication, and honesty. I'm going to share with you guys one thing that I do every single year, and I have gotten a solid response from it every year. As of right now, I'm booked out to the middle of August. And I just do this post, and it's a pick a number post. So I say, yay, it's time for my annual summer giveaway. Pick a number to play. So everybody comments numbers, and I have like hundreds of people I have to message, and it takes like a week to message everyone because you got to make sure you don't get put in Facebook jail, right? Facebook knows, they'll put you in there. So I message everybody and say, yeah, you picked lucky number, whatever it is. I'm so excited for you. You get put into my drawing at the end of the week. But would you like to be guaranteed a free product by hosting a party with me in July or August? And it could be like one of the spring products. So yes, you are spending a little bit of money out of pocket, but those bookings are gold to get you through the summer. If you've been around with Pampered Chef for a year or more and you've experienced a summer with Pampered Chef, that's normally, this is like non-pandemic related. Normally we have a lull, like May and June, like we're still up here. Normally by now we would have been kind of going that downhill slump. But because everybody is at home, like things are still continuing to be pretty consistent. But this, it books me out through my summer every year, and then I guaranteed have a full schedule in fall because I've kept my full schedule through the summer. So that pick a number post, and I can share that with Kim to share with all of you guys if you'd like my wording and everything. I just ask that you change it a little bit, just so we don't get all put in the slammer. Use your own images. I love Canva. I'm all about Canva and Word Swag, best free design things ever. But I'll share that with Kim. But I do it, and I have gotten, like I said, I'm booked until the middle of July or middle of August. And yeah, I'm going to have to, give them a free product out of pocket, but you don't have to give them a $50 item. You can give them a $6 item or, whatever, as long as it's a newer spring product. And then if their party's really awesome, then yeah, I'll give them like a $10 or $12 item. But it all depends on, is my hostess showing up? Is she keeping in contact with me? Did she keep her party? Did she do the work? Like their prize, what they don't know is their prize is going to be determined on how much they work their party too. If they have a rockin' party, I'm going to reward them with a rockin' gift. And that really creates another level of dynamic and another level of relationship. I have posted that on my personal page, mainly because I'm not super active on my business page, and I have the goals of being more actively consistent on my business page. But between us working towards executive, I was also one of the consultants that helped with Empower. So from like September of last year until right now, I've been nonstop on the go, from traveling to Chicago once a month to our exec stuff to getting ready for conference. My husband and I are also selling and buying a home. I have 3 children, like all the things. So I have not been consistent on my business page. And Facebook algorithms, for those of you that don't know, if you have a business page, the more consistently active you are in the business page, the more it will pop up on people's feeds. If you're not active, ain't nobody gonna see it. So you have to be actively creating that culture in your business page, just like you do in your team pages or whatever. So I posted it on my personal page for me to be able to get that instant thing. And then the more people comment, the more it pops up in more people's feeds. It kind of spreads almost like a virus, like a couple people and then more and more and more, and then more people are seeing it, and it gets to be really big. Like I said, I had almost 200 people I had to message. It was super fun. Took a lot of time, but it was worth it in the end. And I'll give you all the messages. So here's how it works. If they already have a party booked with me, I let them know that once their current party hits $400 in sales, they'll get a free product. If they're not on my books at all, as soon as they hit qualified, they'll get a product. And if they just hosted with me, if they rebook with me within the next 6 months, like fall or next like winter, then I'll give them a free product at their party then. So either way, it gives them 3 different options. So that way there's it's not one size fits all. There's availability for everybody to benefit. Because I know for me, I'll have a host that is in the middle of hosting or hosted last week. Well, she's not going to rebook with me for next month. She's going to want to have some time. So that does allow them some space to do that. I did see someone else had asked a question. I got to scroll up. How do you get bookings when you went through all of your friends list? One really good tip that I can give you for that is to ask for a referral. Ask your friends to do a little, like, reach out to some of their friends. And if they get me a booking, I'll give them a free product as a thank you for their friend hosting a party. Because when I first started out, I was like getting like low on my friends list, but you got to continue to book off of those parties, right? And continue to move forward. But if you ever get in a space where you're like, I've literally messaged everyone, number one, like, really make sure that you've messaged everybody. If you're like, you haven't, continue to work through it. But I would ask for a referral. Say, hey, I am looking for a party hostess. If you have someone that may be interested, a friend or family member, let me know and I'll give you a free thank you product for hooking me up and hooking them up with free Pampered Chef products in their kitchen. Again, a little bit of stuff out of pocket, but it's tax deductible and that future booking is going to be golden. For those of you that are just getting started, I want to share with you this analogy that I really, really love. And this is what I share with all of my new consultants or newer consultants. So when you get started, whether you joined in the middle of your party that you were hosting or you're doing a launch party or whatever, you want to think of your launch party or your party that you signed off of as the star on a Christmas tree, right? It's bright and it's shiny and it's telling everybody and anybody that you joined Pampered Chef, right? You invite everyone, you get them all excited, but then you got to allow it to branch out. So from your launch party, at minimum, you should book 2 shows, right? So there's the very tip top of the tree with the star, and you got those 2 bookings. Because off of those 2, you should book 2 and 2. So it goes 1, 2, 4, 8. See how it continues to double and it continues to branch out and grow into this big, beautiful tree where eventually you should get out of your friends and family list fairly quickly if you're continuing to work the business. Friend requesting everybody that joins the party, asking everyone to host with you. And if you're afraid of doing that, like, let me tell you, I'm the queen of fear. Right now, you're probably like, yeah, right, lady, you're talking to a bunch of strangers you never met before. I've heard that so much. If you would have met me when I first started Pampered Chef, number one, not only would I not be talking to you because I'd be like vomiting in a bucket with anxiety, but I would like not even attend like our team meetings live. Like I'd listen to them the next day because I was so afraid. So it took a lot of time and a lot of self-development and a lot of encouragement and uplift from fellow consultants and my very sweet, loving husband to get me to a place where I feel comfortable and confident. But you have to look at fear and be like, you know what? I'm not going to allow you to control me. We're going to do this together. I do everything scared. I had anxiety before I got on here tonight because I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I know I'm supposed to talk about bookings, but there's so many things to talk about. So you just got to do things scared, because when you work through that fear and you get to the end of whatever you're working through, you can look back and be like, boom, fear, I did it anyways. And I was successful and I landed to where I wanted to be. So, I talked a lot about a lot of different things, but I would love some questions, maybe on something that maybe I didn't touch on in regards to bookings. What I tell my team the most is just, you got to be consistent. Something that I've heard from another leader is, if you work your business like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby, right? And I don't know about many of you, but I don't get paid when I go fishing. Like, it's just enjoyable, right? It's just something that brings me some joy. If you want it to pay you like a business, you got to treat it like a business. You got to wake up and you got to go to work. And even if you're in leggings and you have a top knot on, you got to sit down and do the things. Because that's my life. I live in leggings. Does anybody have any questions? Was that helpful at all?
That was very helpful.
Oh, good.
I'm excited to, so you said you'd share that game with me, and will you share the referral wording that you were talking about?
Yeah, I can share all of that.
And so you talked about business page. So you do business page over VIP, or did you mean VIP?
Nope, I don't have a VIP page set up yet. Like I said, I have a lot of goals to eventually morph into more of a VIP page, but I feel like there's a different space for everything, right? Your VIP page should be the place, in my opinion, where you're going to go and offer all those really exciting, specials. Like if you host a holiday special or something like that, you want to give it to those people that are consistently, ordering from you, and they're like your customers for life. Your business page is where you want to continue to build that, what's the word? That, oh my gosh, my brain went dumb. Oh, brand. You want to build a brand for yourself. In your business page, you're getting to showcase the business. You're getting to reach out and maybe make some new connections. You're able to share products. You're able to run a business through that. The VIP page for me, in my perspective, and everybody has their own opinion. I have a gal that does a VIP page and she calls it a no sale zone. So it's just a place for people to come and share recipes and share their favorite products. And she does end up getting orders from other people saying like, oh my gosh, I want that. I don't have that. Didn't know about that. But it's not a place where she would share like specials or bonuses or anything like that. Where technically, like Facebook wise, I should be running like my giveaway posts through my business page because I'm conducting my business. I'm wanting to get new referrals and new business. Does that make sense? Like for me, my business page is going to be the place where I share the new fall products and things like that. And my VIP is definitely more for those that want to get in on bonus specials or see new recipes and things like that. But I know that our team right now, what our leaders are working on bringing to our new consultants, in addition to like a newer consultant training program, is to help them build their brand. So we're all Pampered Chef consultants, right? We all do the things. We all have the cute aprons and the spatulas. But what separates you from the person sitting next to you in our little squares right now? Like what makes you unique? What makes people want to host and party with you? So that is where our focus is with our team, is building our brand and building, like getting to a place where while we're all part of the same team, we all have our unique way about them, right? Like maybe some of you, like for an example, like maybe you're really fit and healthy and you do all like keto and like paleo and you're all about that. I am not, but I like the tacos and the cheeseburgers, but maybe you do like the healthier things to where you could be the fit and pampered chef, or, you know, maybe you're like all about tattoos and crazy colored hair and that's like your dynamic and you have a personality to bring along with it. Or maybe you're a mom and your kids are in the kitchen. I have a director on my team. Her kids are like in the kitchen all the time. And she is sharing like all the recipes that are kid related and showing the tools that her kids are using. But that is her thing. And she has people that relate to that. Like when you build that brand and build that dynamic for yourself, you're going to attract those types of people and you're going to have your own business separated from the person sitting next to you. Like Sally's isn't going to be the same as Kelly's, who isn't going to be the same as Amber's. Like we all start the same with the same information and knowledge, but for us to be able to grow and brand and develop, like we have to find our own footing. Not that the same things don't work for everyone, but standing out that uniqueness, like that's what gives you that separate place to be like, this is my own. Does that make sense? Like that's what we're really trying to help our consultants is, yeah, I can share with you 1,000,001 templates, but that's my voice coming through that template. They're not partying with you. They're partying with me and they're getting to experience me. When you have something special to bring to the table, you have a passion with Pampered Chef. You have a passion for the products. And even if you don't cook very much, like let that be your thing. How many of you guys have heard of Jody Dillman? She does not cook like ever. Her husband is the one that does all the cooking, and she is very successful with Pampered Chef. So even if you're not like a whiz in the kitchen, you can show them that you don't have to be a chef to enjoy Pampered Chef. You don't have to live and breathe your kitchen to be able to utilize the products and give yourself a solid kitchen. Hopefully that helped too. I can go on tangents, I promise. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I love it. So I had experienced, I think you did like Director Bound with Jenny and Danny back in January, maybe December.
Yep.
And that's what I remembered you from. And I was like, I don't know, I enjoyed hearing from you then. And so that's why I thought it would be really great to bring you to everybody else.
Well, thank you. Thank you. My passion truly right now, and you guys will figure out like where your heart lies in your business. And this is one thing that I also like to share with my team is you're going to find your niche, right? Like I look at Cami Cruz who had like $75,000 in sales and I'm like, holy bananas. Like, what are you doing? But her passion is in personal sales, right? And you can see it. It's proven. Not that she doesn't have a giant, successful, beautiful team, but like she is known for having high sales. And somebody may have like their heart and soul and like bringing out like the best templates and they run the best parties and that is where their heart and passion is. And my passion right now definitely is in helping people get started and grow their business. Like my passion is in developing consultants and developing leaders. So that's where the majority of my time goes right now, is helping consultants get started or develop into directors. So you'll all find your passion place too. Not that you can't have all those things, but you definitely find a space. Diane had a question.
Yeah. How did you develop so many leaders in such a short time?
I am all about systems. Like you have to find a system and you have to stick with it consistently, whether it's bookings or, like I said, after Empower, that was kind of like the tipping point for our team. And it got to a place where we got our systems in place, where we run a consistent get them where you're looking for event at the end of every single month. We do a director bound every single month, but we do it intentionally. It isn't just like, who wants to do director bound? Come and join in on the fun. Like I tried that. And the very first few times that I tried like having an overall blanket invitation, people would kind of show up or not show up and they would like maybe participate in the meetings. So it's all about setting that intention and being intentional with your team. So first you got to identify who you feel like could be a strong leader. And it's not saying that Susie over here will never be a good leader, but until she has a consistent show schedule and she's doing like the things to be able to have a solid base for her business, you maybe don't want to have her dive headfirst into director bound either. You want to see those that are consistently working strong sales every month, those types of things. And I send out a personal one-on-one invitation to invite them to a get them where you're looking for event. Then we make it a true event. Like we talk about all the things, we have other directors share, we have consultants that have gone through director bound before share. We talk about all the bonuses and benefits from building a team. And then I ask like, what do you want this business to do for you? Like it's honest. Like, what do you want this to be? Do you want to be able to have a team? Do you want to make more income? Like whatever that is, then this is the place you need to be. So then we follow it with a booking blitz. We do 3 days of booking blitz every single month and we make sure everybody has a full calendar. And then we do a director bound. And I don't know how many of you guys have checked out the leader guide that's available in Dash. If you go into there under Dash and it's like leader, it's a leader, what is the thing? It's like leadership. There's like a leader materials section down at the bottom, and it's literally a script. Like I read from that every single week, and there's activities, but what's more than just like telling them information is it's sharing why we do what we do. Because we can tell anybody, like, you got to have bookings. You got to do this. You got to ask people 5 times. You got to, like, we can tell them, okay, this is what you need to do, but why do we do what we do? So the tipping point, I feel like, was really sharing why we do the actions that we ask them to do. So then we do the director bound, and those that like follow the steps that we share and invest into it is the ones that are going to have the success. So
And
it's
then
just,
do you have like activities from each week that they do, or is it more like just taking it all in? Or
so we start each director bound with community, like an open floor for them to share like celebration from the past week and maybe some not so celebratory things. Like maybe they had a struggle week and we address those. So we talk about that, and then we have a testimonial period where one of our directors will share why they decided to work towards directorship, how long it took them, what steps did they personally take, how did it impact their family and their business, and then we go through the training. During the training, there are activities that they participate in. Like we talk about stretching outside your comfort zone. We talk about finding your level of faith in yourself. We talk about doing positive affirmations. We talk about setting intentional goals. Like we give them activities that they should be doing over the course of the next week. And then whoever their director is will be touching base with them through the week to see how that particular activity is going. So if we're focusing on, okay, we need you to, we're going to talk about, aspirin. Oh my gosh, I swear I'm not this airheaded all the time. The positive affirmations, like you should start out with one, and I'm going to be a director, or I'm a director of an amazing team. Like putting that into the universe that it is what it is, and putting a date on it. Like don't be afraid to like give yourself a deadline. And then we ask them, what is your deadline for hitting director? And I've had a couple of people that are like, next fall. And I'm like, no, like next month. Like, but it allows you to kind of see where people are at, right? Because you may think you should be like all about like confidence in yourself. Like if you're in director bound, you should know that you're going to be a director and you should feel all the things. I was not one of those people. And I had to have belief pumped into me like a water pump. Like, I mean, someone had to constantly be lifting me up and keeping me going because that was my personality. So it allows you to see who is really positive and comfortable and like confident in their business, but it also allows you to see who is struggling, because then you can one-on-one work with them more deeply during the week to either strengthen their skill in booking or strengthen their skill in the conversation or like screenshots, like making sure you're sending screenshots. But it gives you kind of like that open window. So in the process of the training, you're having them do activities, and then you check in with them through the week. How is that party going with Karen? What did she say about this? What did they earn a kit coupon? But it's that consistency and that intention is what I feel like was definitely the tipping point for us to be able to grow so quickly. And we're still growing. But we also feed that culture, right? Of that. We have like a family feel in our team page where like it is nothing but uplift and support, but we had to build it to get to that place, right? And reminding our consultants that they're able to do the things, and here's the tool, and pumping them full of belief and just knowing that they have a place to come. Like it's like a whole accumulation of things that had to like develop and grow. But I also had to get out of my own way. Like I said, I was afraid of executive. I was terrified. I looked at all those people that are executive directors and I'm like, you are insane. Like you have how many leaders on your team and you do how many parties a week? And oh my God, how do you sleep? Like I was afraid. So it subconsciously was like holding my team back for the longest time, because I was like, yeah, you could totally hit director. You keep working at it. But when I put my intention like in front of me and I'm like, we're going to do this, okay? It was like explosive how many people came out of the woodwork and were like wanting director. And then our team is just hungry. Like everyone's just hungry for more.
And then I'm sorry, I'm being so like specific, but like, so I hear all like the two-way communication and then sending screenshots and the directors reaching out. And so like you said, like getting out of your own way, but there might be some people who come in who are like, yeah, I don't want to do all this. Like, do they continue with that program, or do you just not the next one? They just kind of don't come in, or?
So I require attendance at mine. We record them, but they only get, and so we do our Sunday morning. Like everybody shows up super cute in our pajamas and no makeup and coffee cups. And there are people that are not super happy about it, but those that show up are actively working, like they want it, right? If they're not going to show up, I'm not going to put my time and energy there. Like, I'm sorry. Like if someone wants this, then I'm going to put my time and energy into that person. Where if they're just like brushing you off or not showing up to meetings, like you don't want to put your time and energy there. Kind of one great analogy that I have found is your business is like in a bucket, right? Like all of your team is in this bucket. And if you just promoted to director, or you've been working really hard and you have a team, it's full and it's awesome. And you're like carrying around that bucket and showing everyone, like, look at my team. It's full. It's amazing. But there's a hole in the bottom of the bucket. And if you continue to work really hard to cover that hole and keep everybody in there, and you're just so focused on the fact that you have a full bucket and you're like, but they'll stay in there. They're going to stay in there and they're going to love it. And I'm going to make them love it. I'm going to show them and they're going to want it forever. We're going to tattoo Pampered Chef for life on their arm. Like then everybody's going to fall out because you're not continuing to put more people into the bucket and dividing your time and like keeping the bucket full and happy and like filling it with new things, that is like that piece of continuing to keep it going. But if someone's not wanting to show up to the things, then I'm not gonna beg them. I can't want it for someone, right? I can't. It's just like that analogy of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like, you can't. And I would ask. I straight up ask people, like, hey, I saw that, you haven't been showing up to Director Bound. I just want to touch base. Like, I'm really excited for you. And maybe they just need a little bit more belief pumped into them and just say, like, you're so strong with your business. And, is there something maybe we can work on? And that kind of goes from that place of like training to coaching, right? Like, because training, you're telling them what to do, but that coaching piece is building that conversation and building that relationship with them a little bit more. And maybe they'll share with you, well, I'm really afraid of asking about the business, or I'm really afraid of fear, or maybe they're afraid of success. This is really weird and people look at me so crazy, but I found it's a real thing. And so it brought me comfort. I'm afraid of success. I did not grow up in a wealthy family. Like, I've always been like working paycheck to paycheck. So for me, getting to a place where I was successful or doing something really well, that freaked me out. And so if someone's having success, like, it may be scary to them because maybe they're like, it's all going to fall apart or it's never going to last. So it's pumping them full of that belief and really building them up and building that deeper connection. And maybe they just need to know that you're really there for them too. Like, that's kind of counterintuitive, but it can
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it could be either way.
Thanks.
Right. Allison says they might be self-sabotaging themselves. And that's so valid.
Okay, I have a stupid question if you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm one of the ones that is having problems getting bookings, and I'm fairly new, but I'm not blaming it on my upline because I have an awesome upline. What would you give me as a suggestion to try to get bookings? I mean, I've done some of the things that you've suggested. I've been in the boot camp this last month. I'm just struggling with bookings.
So my question, first of all, would be, what are you sending in the message? One thing that I've learned is you don't want a message that's going to scroll. Like, you don't want a scroll-worthy message. You want to keep it short and sweet and to the point. Like, you don't want to be like, hey, Karen, want to have a party? Like, you don't want to be like that person. But at the same time, you don't want to tell them the life story and all the reasons why Pampered Chef's amazing and they can host and we can get you a knife, but then also a bowl. Like, you don't want it to make it to where they're scrolling to read either. So I would look at what you're sending in a message and how it's being worded. Because if it's coming across again in that desperation place where, hey, will you help me out? Hey, will you do this for me? Hey, I need your help. Like, that's you based. You got to make it them based. So, hey, Carol, I'm so excited because Pampered Chef just released some fab products this past spring. And I know so many more of us are cooking at home. Like, what do you think about treating your kitchen to a fun little makeover and spoiling you with some free Pampered Chef? Like, you got to make sure that you're making it about them and not so much about, yourself. The second one is how many messages are you sending? Like, and be like really honest with yourself. If you're like,
honestly, I've been trying to send at least 5 to 10 a day.
Okay. So if you're struggling with bookings, depending on how big your friends list is, you want to up that up to like 20 to 30 a day. And the reason for that is because on average, between 1 in 8 and 1 in 10 will say yes. So you got to think, if you need to fill 8 bookings, that means you need to send 80 messages. I tell people 1 in 10 because I'd rather like do better than that and have a better average than say like 1 in 5 and you're like, I've messaged those people and I did not have that odd. You know what I mean? Like, I never want people to be discouraged and be like, oh my God, I have to do all of that, because normally their experience is quite opposite. But I'd rather them like have a realistic expectation than set them up and be like, well, I suck because I've sent 10 messages and I didn't get one yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather them have a realistic expectation.
Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the advice.
Of course. Anybody else? As you can tell, I love to talk. Hopefully it's being received well.
Yeah, definitely. I think everything you've given us is really great. Any suggestions to somebody who's maybe not a director yet, but like working with team members to try to get them? I mean, obviously we can't make somebody that like want to recruit, but I don't know.
You mean you personally want to become a director, or your
Just
team?
in general, like say you're not quite to directorship yet, but you're trying to work with a team to kind of get them there. Similar, like piggybacking off of what Diane was talking about, but like almost stepping back a little bit. Maybe you're not quite there yet, but you're trying to get your team like motivated. I
That
don't
would
know.
be like 2 steps, right? Like getting enough people to get to director, and then keeping those people, getting them green and getting them, right? Is that what
Yeah.
you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like sometimes people aren't interested in recruiting, right? Like some people come into this and never want to recruit, like, which I know you can't make somebody do something. So I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts were on that.
So I would ask them to take a step back and not look at it as recruiting, just simply sharing the opportunity. So don't, like, I hate the word recruiting. It like gives me the skeevies. I don't like it. I think it's an icky term. It is what it is. But I would have them look at it as, this is just the way that we run our business. I actually have 2 directors, and one is promoting like tonight, who joined, and they're like, I don't want to have a team. And because they're asking 5 times and they're working their business, it organically is happening. It's actually a disservice to not share the business, right? It's kind of one of those selfish things of like, well, this is mine. I don't want you to have any of it. It's like, I have a pie and it's all for me and you don't get to have any, like slapping hands. You want to divide that pie up and share it around. Like, you want everybody to be able to taste the experience and to be able to have the joy. I know for me, when I started, all I wanted was the free stuff. Like, I didn't want to build a team. I'm on Kristen Ryringa's team. She's my upline. And she was like, oh, you could be a director. And I like straight up laughed at her. I was like, I don't want to be a director. I don't want to build a team. I'm not going to be that friend. I don't want to do that. And over the course of time, by just doing what I was doing, I ended up promoting. So I wasn't a fast track. I had no intention of building a team. But then you get to start to experience how it's helping other people. So again, it's removing yourself from the equation altogether, and how can I bless someone else's life? Like, if they're like, well, I'm really excited because I got to, and I know we're not supposed to say this anymore, but like, I get to get a coffee every single day, guilt-free. That's my vice. And I love it. Or I was able to pay for my daughter to do ballet. But say, okay, well, what would have happened if, this is a good question. I would ask them, okay, I understand like your fear of sharing the business, or maybe you don't are worried about time or something like that. But where would you be had someone not asked you about the business? Like, you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't be building a commission check or going to Florida or the Bahamas, or you wouldn't be able to do these things financially had somebody not asked you about the business. So I tell my team that all the time. You are doing a disservice by not sharing the business, because where would you be had somebody not asked you? That is like the most pivotal thing in the entire planet. And that was like a light bulb for me, is wow, like, I'm kind of a selfish person by being like, this is all mine and nobody else can have any. Like, you want to share it. You want other people to experience friendships. Like, I love the friends I've made with Pampered Chef or financial independence or whatever it may be. So the second thing is, when you're working, okay, just let her know I'll be done in a second. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. No worries, Kenna. Thank you for joining us. I would also reconnect them with their why. Like, the why section of this business is truly like can move mountains. How many of you have sat down and built a vision board? How many of you have done that? Does it like bring a tear to your eye when you look at it and you sit and you're like, I don't even know how I would handle it if all of these things happened? When I started 2020, and I'm going to like talk about myself for a moment, and this is not for me to be braggy. This is me to share like what can happen when you do this. I started to my business beginning of this year with so much intention. I told myself we were going to be an executive team. I was going to share the business, and I wanted to earn Founders Award in developing leaders because I wanted to share the joy. I wanted to buy my husband a new pickup. I wanted to buy us a camper. I wanted to buy us a home. And as of right now, like we're doing all those things. But I made that an intentional thing at the beginning of this year. I have my vision board is my screensaver, and it's the background on my laptop. It is consistently in front of me when I'm working. I also have 3 crazy children that run around and scream at me all the time, and they're part of my why too, as much as they drive me bonkers. They remind me why I'm doing my business, because I get to be home with them, and I get to get them a trampoline, and we were supposed to go to Disney World, and stupid COVID went and ruined it. But I had to set that intentional mindset that this is what I want this to be. So if you have someone that's like teetering on the edge of directorship, share with them what that can mean for them, and then ask them what those available things could do for them. Like, what could extra income do for your family? What would it mean to be able to get free samples all the time? Like, do you know how many people didn't know that you could get free samples as a director? I love it. Like, yeah, we have our earning period, but we get like doubles as directors. It's amazing. But it's reconnecting them with that why and getting it to a deep place where it like moves them. Like, it should bring you to tears, your why. Like, and it shouldn't just strictly be monetary. Like, have them look at a different thing. Like, maybe they really hate their job. I have a director on my team, and not a director, I have a consultant on my team. She's actually a senior consultant now. And her and I had a one-on-one conversation, and was so afraid of becoming a director, but she hates her job so much that in the background, her husband was telling me, please, for all of the things, help my wife do this so she can quit her job. Like, I want her to have joy every day. I want her to feel important every day, and she doesn't feel that way at her job. And I want you to help her do that. So her why is quitting her business. So yes, again, taking yourself out of the equation, like Diane said, it is all about them and not about you. When I was working towards executive, I didn't want the executive title for me. And I tell people that all the time. They're like, congratulations. I was like, I didn't do it. Our team did it. We worked hard. We all worked towards our goals, and it made this beautiful thing happen. It wasn't me. It was all of us working together, but I took myself out of it. Like, I wanted to see how many people we could impact with directorship and upper level directors. Like, that is what is more important. So I would reconnect with their why, like chat with them as much, all the questions. Like, there's a tipping point. You have brand new consultants, right? And you have consultants that have been around maybe in their 30 to 60 days. You're in training mode with them. You're telling them what to do. You're telling them do A, B, and C. And you do it over and over until you have something magical happen. But when they get to that tipping point of director, you should have that tipping point be coaching. Like, you should get to that place where you're asking more questions than they are. You want to get them to a place where it's like pulling taffy. Like, I'm all about analogies. I have analogies out the wazoo, and my team, like, they're like, oh God, here she goes. But it's like pulling taffy, right? It's slow, and it's sometimes kind of painful, and you're just like you're pulling and pulling and pulling, but the outcome is like delicious and wonderful. So ask questions, like ask all the questions, and then listen. Don't ask a question and then while they're listening, try and think of the next question. Like, intentionally listen to what they're saying. So your next question is coming from a place of support, not from like going through a checklist, right? New consultants, we have our checklist, right? We're going to tell them about bookings. We're going to tell them about asking the host 5 times. We're going to tell them about templates and Post My Party and Cint Share. We have our checklist. But when you're helping someone develop into a leader, it may sometimes be a slower process. Number one, that's okay. Like, not everyone's going to be out of the gate and crazy and breaking all the record things. It sometimes takes developing, and it's slow, but it's so worth it in the end. So it's asking all those questions and helping them get to a place of understanding things to a deeper level, rather than you telling them, well, if you just do this, you'll be fine. It's asking, what have you done already? Let's develop from there. And yeah, Jenny, you know how I am. I talk all this. I talk so much. But I love training and helping and developing. So this is like my heart song.
I think, Kelly, do you have your hand up? I see like a little hand on your, I don't know if that's intentionally up, like if she has a question, or do you see that on her square?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe she had a question. It looks like, you know, you can click like the raise your hand thing.
Yeah.
It looks like she raised her hand.
I just say unmute and yell at me. That's what my team does. They'll be like, listen to me now. Does anybody else have any other questions? I'm an open book. I truly am. I'm very transparent with all the things. But I think it's important to be honest and semi-vulnerable sometimes, right? Because it helps you guys understand things. Like, it's all great to see someone like say, well, I did this and I did that, but there's like a deeper level to like what got us there. So I'm open book.
Oh yeah, I could listen to you talk all night. Well, I really appreciate you taking time for us. I know you're super busy.
No, I love it. My evenings are way better than my daytimes. My husband's home at night. I can just pawn the kids off.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you guys for having me. Like, thank you so much, Kim, for asking me to speak. I was so honored when you're like, oh my gosh, I have to have you come and talk. And you're like, pick a Tuesday. But then at first I thought it was just like her team. And then Jenny messaged me. She's like, I hear you're talking for us. And I was like, for who? So I didn't expect this many. So I love it.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, we had a good turnout tonight too. So that's exciting.
I love it. How many of you guys are signed up for conference? I want to see how many are going to conference. Whoop, whoop. I love it. So excited. I love conference. Love it.
It's my first one.
Oh, I'm so sad it's virtual this year, but like, we got to make it the best that we can, right? In-person conference, like when we get to go back to normal, in-person conference is like it's like all the feelings in like a weekend. Like, you get really excited and then you cry about all the things and then you're like numb from all the information, but then you're really excited and really ecstatic. Like, it's like all the emotions.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I'm excited it's virtual because I wouldn't have been able to go in person. So for me, it kind of worked out nice. But
we're having a mini team get together and some of my consultants are like, what's the dress code? And I was like, whatever you're comfortable in. We're all just going to kind of be hanging out. Don't have to get on stage this year, which is nice. I don't have to go buy fancy clothes. I'm a mom, man. It's like sweaters and leggings and t-shirts for days.
yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. If any of you have any other questions, like outside of this, I'm an open book. I do let everybody know I do have my 3 kiddos. One is special needs, so she kind of takes a little bit more time with things sometimes. But I'm happy to help anybody, anytime. It just, as Kim knows, it sometimes takes me a hot minute to get back to you, but it's never from a place of like, oh, I don't want to talk to her. It's just, I'm trying to breathe.
You're just a busy girl with all your stuff.
Oh my gosh, it never ends. But Thank you so much. I'll let you guys go then. Thank you for having me. I hope you all have a wonderful night. It was wonderful to meet all of you. And hopefully we'll see some of you at conference.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.